Look at that list of players that he coached. Unbelievable. He coached. You see this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
What a list.
Okay, go ahead.
16-0. They weren't 18-0. 16.
So the principal, need to know, principal, financial, or whatever. Got it. And where this is just an in-game.
Let me show you this.
Got it. Okay. Perfect.
It says they were 18-0 here. Are they 16?
They are 18-0.
He said 16 or something. No.
16-0.
16?
Yeah, they are 16-0.
What is this 18-0?
That's a misprint.
You sure there's 16? This is from Gonzaga. Let's make sure.
I count 16.
16, all right. That's 16. They've won 20. Right? Oh, jeez. Why?
What's on in front of us? And Wofford. Got it. How much time left? All right. Got a shot.
That's a lane win. That's a lane win. Are you hooked up in Wi-Fi here?
I am not, and I got very poor signal.
Me too.
So I'm not sure
Okay,
how effective everything is going to be getting out.
Did somebody set us up with? Yeah, I need somebody to get me set up.
I don't know what the Wi-Fi. You have Wi-Fi info?
Junior forward from Toyama, Japan. Number 21.
Get somebody to get us Wi-Fi here, Evan.
Hashimura.
Okay, if he can write it down. You just ask him to write down the password.
John Perkins. Basketball 2019. Lorenzo Roma. And in his 20th season for the Bulldogs, Parkview.
All one word, basketball 2019. Orleans basketball 2019. What's going on in the other game, Ep? Okay. I can put you on.
Okay, let me just get our buddy Sean. What the hell is he? Sean. Oh, he saw me. Damn it.
Just his name, Sean Farnham.
Get me on.
Wi-Fi. ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. And welcome to the Orleans Arena here in Las Vegas, site of the West Coast Conference Championship. And this has been traditionally the Gonzaga Invitational. Will it be that again? The Zags, not only the #1 seed in this tournament, they are looking to become the #1 seed in the tournament as a whole as they take on a surprising group of Waves from Pepperdine. The first time ever that the 8 seed and the 7 seed have made it through to the semifinals. Both Pepperdine and San Diego had to win 3 games to get here, and they both did, and they earned the right to try and pull off an upset against Gonzaga and then St. Mary's San Diego in the second half of our doubleheader. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale. We'll be joined by Sean Farnham in just a moment. This Zags group, it is really tough to find a hole in their game somewhere. They seem to be as complete a team as any in the country.
Well, they got as good as a front court as in America, no doubt about it. The perimeter game's excellent as well. Now they get a little stronger. Kevin Tilley, a veteran player who can stroke the basketball, is now going to join them as well and play tonight. They're 16-0, dominated the conference, margin of victory, 27 points a game. Let me tell you this, I don't care who they play. This club is legitimate and will be a threat for March Madness.
If Pepperdine's going to pull off the upset, they will need the X's and O's to be wizardry on the sideline. Sean Farnham's with the man that can do it.
Lorenzo Romar's done a great job with this young group. Coach, you're playing the #1 team in the country. Everybody knows the margin of victory and how successful they've been. What has been your message to get your guys mentally prepared?
We have to be the best version of ourselves. It can be overwhelming to try to match everything they do. They're too great of a team. We have to be the best version.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight. And, of course, to be the best version, they'll look for Colby Ross. He is the marquee scorer for the Pepperdine Waves. If he gets going, he can cause some issues.
Tell you one thing, Sean, they can shoot the 3. They make 9 per game, best in the conference. For them to even have a chance, but miracles do happen. David's Goliaths, they're going to have to make at least about 15 threes today against this sensational Zags team.
Well, this is certainly David against Goliath, because this is not only the #1 scoring offense in the West Coast Conference, they're the #1 scoring offense in all of college basketball, and they get off to an easy start with the Clark lay-in.
Well, great 2-man play right there. Execution so well. Efficiently all year, breaking records. Ken Pomeroy with the offensive efficiency ratings.
Softly off the window, Jordy Smith gets the Waves on the board.
Well, Smith gets that deuce. Now, you got to really hand it to these kids. Lorenzo Romar's kids won 3 games in a row. That's unbelievable. It's their 4th game.
Here comes Colby Ross. He's going to wait for some help, and Colby Ross gets to the free throw line. Over 200 more times to the free throw line than any of the other starters for Pepperdine, and that was something that Mark Few said earlier today at shoot-around they had to guard against, was being sound against him defensively, and they get the takeaway here by Corey Kispert. Kispert's the trailer. Can't hit the triple, although it is knocked out of bounds by Jordy Smith. So it will stay with Mark Few Zags, and boy, the numbers that he has put up and the kingdom that he has built in Spokane, it's really unbelievable.
Well, it's going to equate to Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about it. I mean, his numbers are off the charts when you think about it. And just the margin of victory just is scary to win by 27 points a game and go 16-0.
Nice shot fake by Rui Hachimura. Lost it on the way to the goal, but it will stay. Now check that, they're going to give it to Pepperdine. So there's Lorenzo Romar, who many feel like was shortchanged at Washington. And boy, he's got this Pepperdine group starting to turn the corner despite the record.
Well, he left some really outstanding players there who are now seniors at Washington. And Mike Hopkins has done a great job. He's got to be Coach of the Year in the Pac-12.
The lob broken up, but a foul call. And it looks like they're going to get the bump underneath on Brandon Clark, who has been a revelation after transferring from San Jose State, sitting out last season, practiced with the Zags, and is now one of the finalists for the Wooden Award. He's been that good.
Yeah, he's been terrific all year long. Tremendous ability, inside, outside, just a great all-around player. You know, as Sean said, though, Colby Ross is the key for them. Kid from out of Colorado. A lot of the Pac-12 teams didn't recruit him. Probably should be playing at that kind of a level. But you know what? They happen to have him with Pepperdine.
Long rebound out to Jordy Smith after he missed the 3 to beat the timer.
Got to play with poison. He can't take bad shots.
Eric Cooper with a step back. And Kispert runs it down.
Quality shots really important, Lorenzo said, and also not turning the ball over.
It's a good foul underneath rather than giving up the easy layup by Hachimura. And Rui Hachimura, the West Coast Conference Player of the Year. And he has gone from 2 years ago as a freshman averaging 2.5 points per game to now being a legit first-round NBA prospect.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Stock going up and up for this kid.
Clark lays it in.
What a big-time move right there. Great first step. Very explosive, very athletic. They got some program. It's not just a one-time thing when you look at Gonzaga. It's year after year after year.
Off balance, Kessler Edwards couldn't find the bottom. Here comes Hachimura. Perkins has it poked away and stolen by Ross. Colby Ross, razzle-dazzle behind the back, but Clark guards the rim, and he rejects Jody Smith.
You know, Ross is going to break the record next year in his sister school. He's a kid that's really putting on great numbers for them.
Clark well short on the jumper.
So far, really not super efficient by Gonzaga. I think sometimes psychologically and emotionally it's going to be difficult knowing that you're such a heavy favorite.
Nice drive by Ross.
He's a driver slasher. Hates to lose is the word. Lorenzo said the kid is such a fierce competitor.
Norvell bounces it to nowhere. So Pepperdine's got the ball back with a chance to take the lead. And they'll go to the bench for the first time and bring in Darnell Dunn, who will replace Edwards. Steal by Norvell, and he will cruise in for two.
Easy deuce by Norvell, and that was really a big concern of Coach Romar. Turning the ball over, live ball turnovers was their great at converting in transition.
Edwards stayed in the game. Victor Obioha goes to the bench as Ross drives it. High off the glass and good.
Well, I tell you, Ross gets the deuce. Poor job defensively right there. I tell you one thing, Mark Few shows the tape of that. Nobody rotated over to cut off that driving lane. It was like a Mack truck could have went through there. I could have made that. You're laughing, don't laugh.
Rebound pulled down by Edwards, and he clears to Ross. Ross gives it up, and the layup is good for Jody Smith.
Nice nice execution.
And welcome to Las Vegas, the Orleans Arena, and what has been the Gonzaga Invitational, the West Coast Conference Championship. Rui Hachimura. Weigh in for Gonzaga. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale, Sean Farnham as well. And Gonzaga gets the takeaway, although surprisingly we are tied early, as Pepperdine has been an upstart so far in this championship. They have earned the right to get to the WCC championship, reaching all the way to Las Vegas with an opportunity to take on the #1 team in America, looking to become the #1 seed in all of the NCAA tournament. The first time ever that the 7 seed and the 8 seed have both made it through to the semifinals. Pepperdine had to win 3 games. San Diego had to win 3 games. They both did. So the opening game of our doubleheader tonight, it's the Zags taking on the Waves, then St. Mary's and San Diego at 11:30 Eastern, or roughly 30 minutes after this game ends, over on ESPN2. As I said, Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale and Sean Farnham. And Dickie V, when you look at this Zags group, boy, it is hard to find a hole in their game.
Well, absolutely. When you look at that front court, it's outstanding, as good as any in America. Back court is a solid. Now they get Kevin Tilley back, and that's a big plus for them. He's a veteran player who can stretch the defense, make threes. And remember this, I'm one of you people out there that criticize, oh, they don't play anybody. Remember, they're the only team to beat Duke when Duke had Zion Williamson and their full cast of players on a neutral floor. This team will be a threat, no doubt about it, to win the national championship. They are super strong in every category.
It's amazing the kingdom that Mark Few has built in Spokane. And Sean Farnham, Killian Tilley is going to make an early appearance, as it looks like he's going to check into the game. He has been in and out of the lineup for the majority of the season for the Zags, missed 22 games all in.
Well, and I tell you what, I spoke with him earlier today. He said he's been without pain for about a week. And I said, okay, what do you expect of yourself? You had such a great WCC tournament here a year ago where he lit the world on fire in this building. He said, look, I've got to bring energy and I got to rebound the basketball. I cannot be worried about my offense coming back. That will come over time. I've got to be patient in my shot selection and just blend back into what we already have on this court.
He missed the first 15 games of the season with an ankle injury and then out for the last month as he had a plantar fascia torn ligament in the bottom of his foot, completely unrelated, just bad luck to the ankle injury. But boy, as if this team didn't need more offense, now they get back Tilly, and he gives it up to Hachimura here with 8 to shoot.
Give me a turnover. I said Kevin Tilly. Killian Tilly. I get the K right.
Well,
Killian. I was thinking about someone else.
You're a Paisan. If you were an Irish guy, you immediately would have got to Killian.
No, Killian can really play. In fact, if you remember last year we were here, I believe he made 13 threes in a row.
And I think at one point 15 out of 16.
It was unbelievable. Guys can't do that in practice with nobody guarding them. I mean, Killian was that. I couldn't believe what I was watching. 40 years of doing basketball, seeing him stretch the defense, dropping 1 3 after another. I think personally he will be back in school next year. It's my gut feeling to prove to everybody he's healthy, can go through an entire season. Because there are people in the NBA that liked him a lot last year looking at him, but now you got to question the physical stature. You got to hope that he can play. I mean, the NBA's 82 games plus, all the playoffs, etc.
Colby Ross with the basketball, and he is the best weapon that Pepperdine has. The point guard comes and takes it, averages a little over 19 points per game, 4th best in the regular season in the West Coast Conference in scoring, and he will go at Tilly here and turn. Doesn't get the roll. Hachimura clears.
He's a real competitor, a great driver, slasher. He gets the free throw. He can make threes as well. Really goes to that free throw line often. Tough matchup here, especially on the inside. Big edge for Gonzaga.
Gino Crandall has it slapped away. Roddy Smith the other way. And he'll wait for some help. Gets tied up, and a foul will be called.
I lost to him during the season like everybody else did by better than 30. The margin of differential, 16-0, is 27 points per game. That is amazing when you look at that stat.
Crandall called for that foul. Yeah, according to Ken Palm, if you go all the way back to 1998, you won't find a higher average margin of victory than the 27 per game that Gonzaga won their league games by. As Hachimura, the WCC Player of the Year, gets another takeaway.
Hachimura getting better and better since we saw him 2 years ago.
Tilly with the floater is off the mark, and Colby Ross has it.
They're just happy to see Tilly on the floor.
Roddy Smith couldn't knock down the wide open one after Ross set him up. Zach Norvell buries a 3 from NBA range.
Guys can shoot the 3. They got interior play, perimeter play. You want it, you want to see it, you watch Gonzaga. They got the full package and a coach that's going to be headed to the Hall of Fame.
Traveling call, as dragging the pivot foot was the freshman Kessler Edwards.
They're going to find Norvell. He's not going to waste time. He's going to catch that ball. He's going to let it fly. Wow. Shot that from Reno, man. From Reno.
You shoot that one from the hash mark. I'm not sure how you're supposed to think that one's even going up.
The one great thing, Mark gives them freedom on offense. They play. But you know, he motivated this team. I said, how do you motivate them when you're beating people 30, 35? He said, we motivate against different situations. Look at this guy.
Tilly loves it in the Orleans Arena.
Forget about the injury, man. Nothing's changed. You're a shooter, you're a shooter. That basket looks like the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, we're the West Coast, Pacific Ocean.
You know what? When we're here for this tournament, it feels like we're in Spokane South. Ross, quick trigger. Can't answer. Perkins. Tipped up by Tilly, but it rolls off the rim. Colby Ross, he is aggressive. He won't waste any time, and he'll knock down a long 2.
He can score. He's going to eventually be a leading scorer, maybe at Pepperdine eventually in terms of total points. Going to break records in assists. He's a competitor. You just watch him on the floor. He's not intimidated by anyone.
He had 26 points and 9 assists against San Francisco to help get them here. Tilly back to the basket. Good hands on the reach-in. Taking it away, the diminutive Darryl Polk. All 5'9" of them.
Well, Dow did a great job right there defensively in the rotation.
And finds the freshman trailer, Kessler Edwards.
That's what they got to do. They got to make threes. They lead the conference in most threes made. I don't know if you saw that. That shocked me a little bit versus Gonzaga.
I wrote it down right here.
You did? Yeah,
Look,
you got it.
number one in WCC play, 9.1.
I know you got all the notes. I knew there's nothing I could do to fool you, man. This guy's a walking encyclopedia.
Oh, yeah. Crandall needs some help and finds it in Norvell. He gets to the baseline. Double teamed. Great ball movement.
Oh, look at that.
Tilly left alone. Don't leave him alone. Not at Orleans Arena.
And he looks at what's he looking over here for? We know you're back. We know you're back. Oh, he can shoot the rock, man. No substitute for having guys that can make baskets. It looks like the Pacific Ocean to him. A lot of guys, it looks like a teacup. He's back. Mr. Tilly is back, Robert.
As if this team didn't need any more weaponry. Crandall almost got the takeaway. They are relentless defensively, and Perkins reached in and gets called for the foul.
That was a good call right there as well. Excellent call.
But talk about welcoming back a weapon. Killian Tilly, he will be very dangerous if he can stay healthy in the NCAA tournament. And Dick, this is his house in the WCC.
I'll tell you, when you got a guy that can stroke it like this, coming back from an injury, joining the cast of the #1 offensive efficiency team in America. Look at him swing that basketball. Is that execution at its best? That's A+, baby. Where's he at?
Who's that?
No
Terrence Rensher?
Yeah, I remember him.
I was in National Freshman of the Year in 1992. I didn't be sitting here.
Where'd you get this from?
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal Investments, Retirement. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal Investments, Retirement Insurance.
Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, Sean Farnham back at the WCC Championship here in Las Vegas. And again, this is a conference that Gonzaga has owned. And the league honors this year, Dick, well, they come to Las Vegas and they have come up on the slot machine, nothing but Bulldogs. Rui Hachimura, the player of the year. And is it any surprise that Mark Few's the coach of the year 13 times over?
Wow. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and the numbers are astounding. Brandon Clark, look at this guy. Another great player. Best defensive player. Best newcomer. They give him every award going. Why not?
Yeah, they basically swept the awards. 4 players in their starting 5 end up as first-team All-WCC honorees.
And that's without Tilly. Now you got Killian back. I mean, that's incredible.
And Tilly stays on the floor after the timeout. Off the curl, and that won't go for Eric Cooper.
Hey, Sean, you've seen a lot of basketball out here in the West, played at UCLA, you know a lot about the area. your evaluation of this Gonzaga team?
Well, Dick, it's exactly what you're talking about. Where's the weakness? I mean, they lead the nation in points in the paint per game, and then you've got the outside shooting like Josh Perkins, what we've seen from Killian Tilly. And he adds another dimension to this team that every NCAA opponent that they'll face in the next couple of weeks is going to be sitting there going, great, they just got better, and they were already elite.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You know, everybody questions their schedule, questions the fact they don't get tested enough in conference play. How much do you think that affects them going into the tournament? I'll let you answer that, Bob.
They tried to turn off my mic, Dick. They tried to turn it off.
Who would ever turn off Sean Farnham's microphone?
To your point, Dick, you know how hard it is to be the team that is winning by 28-plus points every single night and to go undefeated. When I talked to Brandon Clark about it, I said, okay, take me through your mental approach to every game. He says, we know we have to come out and win by 28 or 30 so that everybody can't take shots at our schedule. And it's hard to get up for every opponent when you know off the bus you're 20 points better.
Absolutely. I'll tell you this, I spoke to Mark about that, Sean and Bob, and you were there when he answered. He said, we use things like Kent Pomeroy's rate. We were like 50 in the nation defensively. We said, wait a minute, that's got to change. And now they're in the top 15 in the nation.
Well, they said they went back and looked and could only find a couple of examples over the last 15 years or so as Clark seals inside and scores again, where a team wasn't one of the top 20 teams in defensive efficiency and get to the Final Four or win a national championship. So it is a pretty tried and true barometer, and you're right, they found some of those statistical numbers to motivate their guys when they didn't feel like necessarily the competition in the West Coast Conference every night was going to do that.
Plus, they get motivated playing against each other in practice every day. That's their challenge as well, and he keeps them constant. I'll tell you one thing. Lorenzo Romar told us before the game, the one thing is they will always come out to play hard against you. They're not going to relax. There's no way, shape, or form you're going to catch them on a night where they're not going to give their best. They may have not a great night all the time, but they're always going to play to their best.
Tilly and Perkins both sit down.
They didn't throw it back to me.
Hachimura off the front rim. A little confusion in the backcourt as Jordy Smith takes over for Pepperdine. Down the lane. Way short.
Such a spurt team, too. They can put on 10 zipping in no time.
Kispert. Sets up Crandall. Extra pass to Hachimura. And a three.
Well, his stock just keeps going up and up. Hachimura just keeps going up and up. What a player he's become. He's made himself a complete player. We saw him in the early stages with potential. A lot of guys have potential that never becomes real. His potential has become legitimate.
And Hachimura pokes it to Crandall here. Leads it for the swooping Clark. But traveling is called.
Sean did a nice piece I saw on TV, Sean, that you did with 8 teams that really have a chance to win 6 games in a row. And obviously Gonzaga was one of them. And I listened to that, and I couldn't agree more with those teams that you listed. All were there, and obviously they're teams we see in the top there. And you're talking certainly the Carolinas, and you're talking Gonzaga, and the Dukes, and Kentucky, Tennessee. Virginia obviously is in that mix as well.
Dick, you see these guys all the time. You see the best teams in the country. Your first early impressions of a team right now, it's on a 21-5 run.
Well, my impression, obviously, from day one, I liked them when balls tipped in, and I liked them even when they got beat. I did the game when they got beat by North Carolina, and really, that day, I looked at them and I said, this team is special. You could see all the elements, all the ingredients, the components. North Carolina played really brilliantly that game. It was coming off a chip on their shoulder and lost within, I guess, about 10 days. They got beaten badly by Michigan, and they came to want to prove they could get a quality win, and they got one, and now they're on a roll. North Carolina is one of the real legit threats to win it all.
Jordy Smith finally is able to break the run by Gonzaga, but the lead's still at 14.
They dominate in this league almost at every position. I mean, very few edges you're going to get at your position.
Nice shot fake by Jeremy Jones. And a foul will be called on Colby Ross. Although he came up with the fuzzy end of the lollipop there, got caught right across the bridge of the nose. But Rui Hachimura, West Coast Conference Player of the Year. No holes in his game. Another perfect night in Las Vegas and a nearly perfect start and a perfect season for Gonzaga. Bob Wischusen and Dick Vitale, Sean Farnham back at the WCC Championship as we bring you tonight's Need to Know, brought to you by Principal. And these are not just West Coast Conference ranks. These are Division I rankings, #1 in America for Gonzaga. Scoring, field goal percentage, margin of victory, assist-to-turnover ratio. They are as efficient as any offensive group in the country from our view.
Well, every year that's their key. They really execute so well, and they want to increase it defensively because they were disappointed early. As we said, with Ken Palm, when they looked at the ratings, their defensive efficiency was down. But there was a reason for that. They played Duke, they played teams like Tennessee, them early in the year. Those teams put on a lot of points, good offensive teams.
Brandon Clark is able to draw the foul. Sean?
I was in the huddle last time with Pepperdine, and one of the things Lorenzo Romar was talking about with his team is offensively we're making it easy for them to defend us. We're making it easy for them to create turnover opportunities because we're dribbling the ball too much. We've got to be crisper in our passes and move and get into our flow offensively. Defensively, the one thing he said was we have to keep them out of the paint. Not a good transition out onto the court considering first possession they drive and get right back into the paint. They want them to shoot out over the top and have over help and try to get them to shoot perimeter shots more so than getting the two-point shots at the rim.
You know, that's really great, Sean, when you think about it, coach terminology, but you got to have people that can execute that. And right now they're limited. And Sean, you know, they lost the key kid on the front line when they lost Cameron Kessler from playing in this game.
Yeah, Cameron Edwards is such a strong presence for him. He can also shoot the ball from beyond the arc. He's the one that has the rebounding ability. But, Dick, I'll be honest with you. Even if Cameron Edwards is on the floor right now, they're not slowing down #1. Even this timeout from Lorenzo Romar won't stop it.
Well, his brother Kessler certainly playing, Kessler Edwards, but Cameron is missed because he's the one guy that had a little physical stature. I mean, it wouldn't be enough. There's no question. It would not negate the unbelievable front court, certainly of Gonzaga.
We're back in 30 seconds.
their score earlier this year.
I'll get it for you. Back at the West Coast Conference Tournament semifinals, Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, and Sean Farnham. Pepperdine doing all they can to just try and hang in there with the Zags. They've got Colby Ross, but he gets bottled up again by the Bulldogs as they are bulldogging that defense right down to the floor. Zach Norvell gets the tie-up. It'll stay with the Waves.
You look at the bodies. They got such an advantage in terms of the structure of their bodies. Right now, Pepperdine, we said, led the conference, making 9 threes. They're 1 for 6 in this game. This kid plays so hard, though. The kid Ross gives everything he has. You know, I think of Lorenzo Romar. I think of all the great players he had when he coached at Washington, guys that went on to the NBA. Think about Isaiah. Certainly Thomas was one of those guys. He was certainly a player. Yeah, Markelle Fultz. He told me that Fultz has had that nerve injury in his shoulder, starting really now to get healthy, and thinks he will be a great asset eventually with Orlando.
Well, Spokane is no stranger to turning out pros, because Mark Few has a conveyor belt of professional basketball players that have come through this Gonzaga program.
And Lorenzo certainly had a role down there at Washington. I mean, he had his share. As we said, he had 16, I counted, guys in the NBA.
Colby Ross lobbed it right over the head of Ohia Obioha.
Think about Brandon Roy was certainly an outstanding guard for him. Terrence Ross now playing in the NBA. I mean, there's a list that was unreal. Nate Robinson, what about Nate Robinson? He was a jumping jack.
Yep, he was a microwave kind of a player.
And then a big guy, Spencer Hawes, was there as well. Holiday.
Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz, he told me that Markelle is really starting to get back in shape. He says he's so athletic, and he thinks he's going to eventually prove to people he can play.
Floater off the rim for Smith, but the putback is there for Ohia Obioha.
He's a young guy getting better and better and better. He's a kid that played limited basketball before he arrived at Pepperdine.
Victor Ohia Obioha came to the U.S. in December of 2015, and by the time he was a senior in high school, was averaging a double-double. Colby Ross finds the trailer. It's Smith. Spin move by Dunn. Throws it right to Tilly. Gliding to the goal, Corey Kispert. Off the feed from Josh Perkins.
Well, Corey Kispert with the driving layup, a great execution in transition. Even had Mark Few clapping. It was clinical when he ran the break. 45-degree angle, center the basketball.
Wild shot, good for Colby Ross, plus the foul. That is something he can do. He finds a way to score it.
He deserves it, man. He plays so hard. You root for a kid like this. There he is challenging the big guys. He throws it up. Wow. And it went down.
How about he's already top 5 all-time in Pepperdine history in assists? He's only a sophomore.
Yeah, he's going to break the record, they said. There's no doubt about it as a junior. They think that eventually he'll become one of the best scorers in the history of the university as well. In fact, they think they charted it, if he stays healthy, that he can break a record for the school scoring record as a senior. Jim Herrick did a good job when he coached down there at Pepperdine. What a beautiful campus. Oh, it's gorgeous, breathtaking. Let's see all the Hollywood stars there as well.
Tilly again. He just can't miss when he gets to Las Vegas.
What a stroke. What a stroke he's got. That's going to make him feel so good. First game back in a long time, and all he does is knock down his first 3 threes. That's incredible.
Ohia Obioha is met at the rim. That's out of bounds off of the Zags.
Well, we got all the bracketologists going wild right now, all projecting where teams are going to be, who's going to be the #1 seeds. A lot of that's going to be determined by what happens in tournament competition, especially in the SEC and the ACC. They will determine who will join because there's 2 that are locks. This club is a lock #1, Gonzaga, and Virginia is a lock. The other 2
lob to Ohia Obioha that's knocked out of bounds.
The other 2 are still a little bit, I think, wide open to go to whether it be Tennessee, Kentucky, even at LSU. If they turn around and win the SEC tournament, How do you keep them possibly out of the talk? I mean, winning the regular season, and too bad with all the controversy going on down there, but the kids are, well, they're talented and they can play, and they've proven they can win a lot of games.
Kispert to Hachimura, lays it in.
Kispert showing unselfishness, another trademark in the regime of Mark Few. Share the basketball. I mean, he could have shot that basketball, Kispert. He gives it off for a layup.
There is an unselfish culture about how you play for Mark Few. There's no question. As Ross turns it over. Hachimura gives it up. Gets it back. And lost control on the way up. Tried to dunk it and threw it out of bounds. It is still a 20-point lead for Gonzaga. When we come back, I'm going to put Dick Vitale and Sean Farnham in the committee selection room. For now, let's go to Chris Goddard.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, Sean Farnham back here at Las Vegas. Champ Week continues. It's a 20-point lead in the semifinals of the West Coast Conference for Gonzaga over Pepperdine. Now we are into Champ Week, which means all of the power leagues are going to be taking center stage. And how about the New York Life ACC tournament played in Charlotte? The double byes go to Virginia, Florida State, Duke, and North Carolina. They can wait until Thursday to see how the rest of the bracket plays out.
Tell you one thing right there is a big game. North Carolina State and Clemson. You keep your eyes on that game. That game is certainly big right there and could be so meaningful in that situation when you're looking at getting a bid. If you're Clemson, I think they're in, but that's a knockout punch. You beat them, it's a knockout punch. NC State needs that win to be in the chatter to get a bid.
There's a foul on Corey Kispert. Well, let's take a look at the top seeds according to our own Joe Lenardi and his bracketology. He's got Gonzaga right now as the number 2 overall seed, but comfortably as a part of that group. But I'll talk to you, Dick, and also Sean Farnham, bring him into this discussion. And when you guys think, and Sean, start with you, about that committee room. The West Coast Conference tournament is generally dominated and won by Gonzaga, but someone from a power league is going to point to the level of competition. What happens if a North Carolina or a Duke loses early in a power league scenario? Do you think they get penalized, or is there going to be some thought in the committee room to say, yes, Gonzaga won, but they win every year in their league tournament?
Well, I think, when you talk about, okay, if North Carolina is to lose early in the ACC tournament, you have to look at their entire resume. And regardless of whether or not Zion Williamson was on the floor, clearly he was only out for 30 seconds of the entire 2 games, they swept Duke. That has to matter. That has to count for something. And I think that over the long haul of the season, you're not talking about maybe a half a seed line change. So if you're the bottom 1, maybe you go to the top of 2. That's going to be the least of which they slide.
Well, I look at that and I see a scenario where it's really meaningful for a number 1 seed, what's transpiring in that ACC between Carolina and Duke. They're going to have Zion Williamson, most likely we're hearing, will be back and play in that tournament. And that is certainly a big difference maker. Remember this, they've only lost one game all year, Duke, when he was on the floor in his presence, and they had a full cast of players. And bottom line is this club beat them right here, Gonzaga. Gonzaga and Virginia are not going to lose number 1 seeds. It's a matter of what happens in the SEC tournament, what happens there, and what happens with Carolina and Duke. Kentucky still has a legitimate chance, I think, to be a number 1 seed. I know Lunardi has them right now. I had Tennessee in that slot, looking at the entire resume. But Tennessee, Kentucky could possibly play in a semifinal, and that game could be big. And don't forget LSU. I think the committee will have a tough time. Now, how much do they put into it on what's happened with the Wade situation? I don't know the thinking process there, and we don't know the thinking process. Is Javante Smart going to be back playing? So those are factors. What is the condition of Zion Williamson? That's all going to be part of the committees. And that's not going to be, I don't think, as tough as people think. I think the toughness is going to be, what do you do with teams like Belmont, who had great years, versus mediocrity in the power conferences, which benefit by having quad 1 wins, because they play all quad 1 and 2 teams.
Yeah, Sean, we were talking about this earlier as another takeaway defensively for Gonzaga at the rim as Clark comes the other way. He will cross over and lose the ball on the baseline, and it's going to go over to Pepperdine. We were talking about this earlier today with Mark Few, talking about some of, like an Indiana, for example, becomes a really controversial bubble team with their record in their league. If there wasn't a year where those mid-major teams are going to have a real argument to make, saying, hey, you're going to leave us on the bubble this year and not let us in if it's a weak bubble in terms of the power leagues, I would think this would be a year where a mid-major team would have a real gripe if they got left out.
Well, yeah, and I think, Dick, you're exactly right. Belmont is a tremendous team that played so well in the OVC. They lost to Ja Morant, one of the great players that we have in our college game right now in the championship. That shouldn't discount their entire season, their entire resume. And look, if you're just 1 or 2 games under 500, okay. But if you're 6 games under 500 in conference play, you're telling me you deserve to go in over a team that goes 14-2 in their conference? I don't think so. I think this is the year we need to pay more attention. There's a lot of good teams in those mid-major conferences. We saw one in UNCG right before we came on air taking on a Wofford team. Wes Miller's team can win a game in the NCAA tournament. They just need a chance.
I'll tell you one thing, Sean makes a point there about Indiana. The thing going for Indiana is that the system absolutely favors the elite power conferences. The quad 1 system that's in now and the quad 2, that all favors the elite schools. There's no doubt about it, as does now this net system. But if reality comes in and you want an exciting tournament, Davids versus Goliaths, I'll go one step further. Not only does Belmont belong in the tournament, Lipscomb belongs in the tournament, and they got beaten in their tournament. That makes the beauty of what really, in essence, is March Madness. Now, also, Indiana does have incredible number of quad 1 wins, but they also have lots of quad 2 losses, but they really are going to be 4 games under 500 now. The last time a team got in 4 games under 500 in the conference was 98, it was Florida State.
Hachimura with a step back, trying to beat the halftime buzzer, and Norvell will on the putback to extend the Gonzaga lead to 47-26 at halftime.
See, that's an example right there, how hard they play. No matter what the score is, they do not play the scoreboard. They're aggressive, and they play with great energy all the time. That's what makes the Zags what they are.
Hachimura with the miss, and Norvell, Johnny on the spot with the follow as we head over to Sean Farnham.
Coach, you get Killian, Tilly comes back. What is it about this building that works out so well for Killian?
I'm just so happy to get him in a game. He deserves to play and to feel this and to hear the crowd. And obviously he's playing pretty good except for that bonehead play on the out of bounds under there.
You look at the lead, you're up by 21. Your team's been able to do this all season long. How pleased are you with their mental approach so far?
I was really happy with us on the defensive end. Pepperdine really came in here on a roll. Obviously, they're a dangerous team and get it going, so we'll have to guard them really good for the next 20. But so far, so good on guarding all their actions on our defensive end.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Time now to go to the half. We got our guys back in the studio. Seth, Jay, take it away.
We're actually going to step aside for just a moment. The Audi halftime report will begin right after these words with a 47-26 lead for Gonzaga at halftime over Pepperdine.
Since 1992, SideQuest has been the Inland Northwest premier outsourced IT provider. With a one-call total service approach, SideQuest provides stability and increased productivity to your organization. SideQuest works
and they do. SideQuest advances your network to give your organization more productivity. To learn more about how SideQuest can help your organization, visit SideQuest.com.
Nobody said it was easy. That's why you shoot 1,000 three-pointers, make 300, study all night, then shoot 1,000 more. Get straight A's. Keep practicing. Be a good friend. Push through it. Make the playoffs. Graduate from lottery.
Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. The first of our doubleheader tonight at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. It's the WCC semifinals. Pepperdine trying to hang in with Gonzaga, but few can. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll have San Diego and St. Mary's over on ESPN2. And it certainly looks like that will be a game for a date with Gonzaga in the championship game. Bob Wischusen alongside Dick Vitale. Sean Farnham with us here in Las Vegas as well. They're the #1 seed. They might be the #1 overall seed in all of college basketball when we get to the tournament. They also have the player of the year in their league in Rui Hachimura. Gonzaga's tough to beat.
Well, they're tough to beat because they have so many ways they can beat you. They can beat you on the interior. They can beat you shooting the three. They can beat you now defensively. They can beat you on the glass. There's the great efficiency inside, taking advantage of the great size. They can stroke the three. Hachimura from up on top. And they're going to do it defensively. And then they're going to transition off. There's the great two-man play. And then they get back Mr. Tilley, who can stroke the three, kill you.
Yeah, Sean Farnham, as if it wasn't enough to have Rui Hachimura, who already has 12 points, along with Brandon Clark, maybe the two best players in this league up front this season. Now they get Killian Tilley back.
Yeah, Killian Tilley's been so hot here. I took off the jacket for the second half. He's been outstanding. In the locker room, I asked the coaching staff, I said, what was the reaction like to Killian's play in the first half? They said his teammates were thrilled, and it's just great to see him back out on the floor. It gives us another weapon and another added dimension. I said, okay, well, what's the focus? You got a 21-point lead. What was the message from Mark Few? And it goes back to your point, Dick Vitale, that you made in the first half. They're not worried right now about this game. Their focus is on getting better to make a run for a national championship. Their focus is taking care of the ball better in the second half. They felt like they were too careless, too many turnovers. They want to continue to lock up defensively and keep their opponent off the free throw line. We'll see if they can do that because that's what they're building towards. They're building towards Minnesota. They're not building towards Las Vegas.
I'll tell you one thing. They're going to be certainly on everybody's mind in the early rounds. They don't want it to slip. They had that 1 year. Remember, they were phenomenal, and Wichita State got them early. I mean, you got to be careful. Everybody up there can play. And one bad night, the party's over. It's not 4 out of 7. It's not the NBA. You make a mistake, have a bad night, you get another chance. That's what makes March Madness the best of the best. Talk about all the events you want. There is nothing like the magic of March Madness. The excitement. Grandma, Grandpa puts on a sweatshirt. They come out cheering. They've not been with us all year. And all of a sudden in March Madness, everybody's fanatical. Everybody's got their ballot. People are going wacky. I'll tell you one thing. I love every moment of it. I think you know that.
Got to throw Grandma and Grandpa under the bus for being fair weather fans. As Kispert gets to the baseline and turns it over. 9 first-half turnovers for Gonzaga.
What a pass.
And they give up a live ball turnover here, and a foul is called on Norvell, as that was a great look from Colby Ross.
Colby Ross can play. That was a terrific pass. He put that baby like a dime. Man, he just dropped that sucker really well. Clark Kellogg usually uses that term. I love Clark. Great, great guy. I'll tell you one thing. Basketball's got some terrific guys in the business.
That was actually Perkins that picked up the foul, his third. And this week's NBA Wednesday doubleheader starts in OKC. The Brooklyn Nets continuing their playoff push against Russell Westbrook and the Thunder at 7 Eastern. And it's off to H-Town for a great matchup between Steph, KD, and the Warriors, and the Beard and the Rockets. Both games right here on ESPN. ESPN app.
The Beards got them playing really well. They've been playing exceptional basketball. Got Chris Paul back healthy. Capella's back healthy. I mean, they've really been good.
Kispert straight away.
Oh,
Speaking of really good. Chance for a 4-point play. Corey Kispert only averages about 8 points per game. He is almost an afterthought offensively with this group they've got on the floor, and yet he can knock it down as well.
Well, inside, outside action. Hachimura back out to Kispert. Hey, it becomes contagious. You see one guy making threes, everybody else steps into it. When they got weapons, man, you can't just negate one guy. So we're going to lock up on Hachimura, and you're going to be in great shape. It isn't going to work that way against Gonzaga.
Colby Ross backing down Perkins. No good off the backboard. Brandon Clark was third best in the West Coast Conference in rebounding this season, and he will glide to the goal and lay it in.
He slides and glides, turns on the afterburner, super quick, explosive.
Hachimura's got 12, and now Clark has 9. Those two have been in double figures every game this season. Both as that runner for Colby Ross comes up short, but he'll go to the line.
Watch Hachimura. When I watch this, then there's the drive by Clark. Clark goes for the goal. Hachimura occupies people. See, he occupies people. A little play like that, by his presence, opened up space for Clark to make that drive. People don't realize how important that is. That's why Zion Williamson on the floor would do. It's not just his scoring, it's what he brings, the space he occupies.
A block by Clark. Second effort wouldn't go, and Kispert able to clear. Norvell. Offensive rebound for Clark. Finds a cutter in Norvell.
Oh, look at that pass. Norvell moving without the ball. All facets of the game that they cover. Move the ball, player movement, ball movement.
Zach Norvell was at Chicago Simeon with Jabari Parker. That must have been a pretty good high school basketball team as Kessler Edwards couldn't flush it. Hachimura bullies his way into Edwards and is called for the offensive foul.
Got a little charge right there. A little work the glass right now. Watch this pass. Watch this bounce pass. Right on a dime. What a cut to the goal by Norvell. There's the cut. There's the layup. Tremendous. You know, you mentioned that combination. I mean, playing with Parker. Parker now all of a sudden is starting to play well. Traded.
Cooper hits a three. Eric Cooper made 2.5 threes per game during the regular season for Pepperdine.
Yeah, he's a good three-point shooter.
And an answer for Corey Kispert. He's got 11.
And Kispert says, you know, Mr. Tilley, you can make threes, but so can I. I get wide open. I'm going to square my body and shoot it. Cooper can shoot the three, though, for Pepperdine. They're in a growing stage.
Norvell. 2 more.
Just too strong, too talented, too strong. They got a nice player sitting out when you think about Pepperdine. Remember Michael Cage, outstanding player at San Diego State for Smoky games he played for David, who I went to dinner with David last night. His son is there, transferred from Oregon. I think he's going to be special.
Well, this last play caused Lorenzo Romar to call timeout as Norvell picks the pocket and extends the Gonzaga lead. Hall of Fame coaches, okay.
Mark Few's getting right up there with those guys.
How about like your all-time great scorers? If you want to tie it together. Rui Hachimura and Brandon Clark have both been in double figures, both of them, all 32 games this season. It's the first time that that's ever happened under Mark Few. You have like a Mount Rushmore of duos?
No.
Because I guess that wouldn't really be a Mount Rushmore. That'd be 8 guys. Does it really make sense?
The best is to say, you know, just to give the book a shot by 4 great guys on the cover, Hall of Famers.
Performance of the first semifinal here at the West Coast Conference Tournament in Las Vegas for Gonzaga, 60-31. They lead for maybe one of the all-time greatest college basketball coaches before it's all said and done. Mark Few, well, Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale. If you want to get a copy of Dick Vitale's Mount Rushmores of college basketball, you certainly can. That's a pretty good Mount Rushmore of head coaches. Oh, Mark Few can crack that group that's on the cover of the book. But how about how the book is going and what the proceeds go to?
Well, the proceeds are going basically pediatric cancer. We got so many beautiful kids out there battling that disease. You met one when I took him to the game as my guest. You and Allison were so great with him, little Joshua Fisher. And we're trying to minimize that. We want to help these kids. So every dollar from the sale of my book is going to pediatric cancer through the V Foundation. And you can get an autographed copy. Go to dickvitaleonline.com. We're going to our third printing. The book is doing well. And bottom line is we're going to help kids battle that disease. Because I'm not making a dime. Every dime I make is going to the V Foundation. So get an autographed copy. Go to dickvitaleonline.com.
By the time you get to that fourth or fifth printing, you think Mark Few might be prominently featured?
I'm going to tell you one thing.
Norvell with the finish.
I love the way they're cutting it off the basketball. Always looking for the open man. That's a sign of greatness, man. When you play together, you share the ball. I know in the studio, Seth has been a big proponent of this team, and I couldn't agree more. I definitely feel this team is going to be my choice. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be my choice to win it all. They really are. And I think the Zags are going to be my choice to be national champs.
The outlet to Hachimura.
Hello, up and away, run baby run. You know, I feel bad a little ways for the kids at Pepperdine. They're playing hard, but they're just physically outmanned. Talent is not there to compete with the Gonzaga team.
And they had to win 3 games in 3 days just to get the opportunity to play in this game. Jody Smith is able to put one down.
Yeah, that's really successful right there. It was a nice move by Smith, laying it on the glass.
When Gonzaga gets it rolling, they are like a freight train. Brandon Clark and Rui Hachimura always seem to be up in the locomotive.
Yeah, they really are. They got such, I think you mentioned earlier, if not, I'll mention it here, both those guys have scored double figures in every game this year. It's unreal. Look at that up and away. Mr. Hachimura, he'll be certainly a solid NBA player.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit
Yeah, sure. Love it. Is this a sponsored element at all? So this could just come up. Nothing to officially read. Got it.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com.
Back at the Orleans Arena, Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, and Sean Farnham. Gonzaga just about doubling up Pepperdine. And why not? They've got two of the best players in America. There are four guys that are prominently featured as Wooden Award finalists that don't go to the power conference schools. John Morant's been amazing this year at Murray State. Probably be a top 3 pick. Mike Daum at South Dakota State has been a double-double machine, but two of the four play for Mark Few's Gonzaga team, and Rui Hachimura and Brandon Clark. They might be the best duo in America outside of Zion Williamson when he's healthy and R.J. Barrett.
Yeah, really an unbelievable duo. They've been so consistent all year, the two Zach players. You showed John Morant here. I did my awards today, my Vital Ball Dome Index Awards.
I want to hear this.
BBDI. Well, I get Player of the Year, and I think he shows his value by the fact Duke's 3-3 without him. Zion Williamson. He's been the face of college basketball all year. I went for Coach of the Year. I went to Texas Tech, Chris Beard. Great execution right there. Threw the ball up at the top. They were projected to be 7th in the Big 12, and you've seen a lot of Big 12 games. He's done an amazing job with Texas Tech. John Morant was a guy I gave an award to. Stock going uptown big time. You talk about a player that really has captivated America, and especially people in that area, is John Morant. And wait till they see him in tournament time. A lot of fans that haven't seen him. Murray State superstar. And the most improved player in America, Warren, Jordan Warren from Louisville. From last year to this year, his improvement has been unreal.
And Sean, you've seen Gonzaga a bunch this season. Compare the combination of Clark and Hachimura to some of the other better duos in college basketball, especially the ones you know they're naturally going to be compared to that play in the power leagues.
Well, the biggest thing is, okay, how do you impact a game? And obviously, it goes without saying, R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson, and when they're healthy and when they're out on the court, they are fantastic. But this is the best front court in the country because of the emergence of Brandon Clark. Remember, he went to San Jose State. He was not a great shooter. He was not a great offensive player. He was a very good athlete. His redshirt year, he was so good. I asked Mark Few, I said, when did you realize Brandon Clark was going to be this good? He goes, when I had to take him off of Jonathan Williams at practice because it was hurting Jonathan Williams' mental state. I mean, that's how good this kid is. And we've seen him. He set the single-season school block list this year in one season. And you couple that with Rui Hachimura, who's going to be a late lottery pick this year if he makes the decision to go out. This is why you believe in this team, that when the shots maybe aren't falling from the outside, you've got those two guys to anchor you underneath and find a way to help you win a game in March.
And then also they add Tilly to that mix as well, and that really gives them another dimension. Well, you mentioned great combinations. Don't forget the combination in Tennessee. I mean, that combination is pretty good too. Grant Williams and Schofield. I mean, they know how to play and they know how to win. There are a lot of good tandems out there.
Yeah, I'd say the combination of Bob and Dick is pretty good, too, for television listens. I mean, I'm just saying.
I agree.
Now, I might not be Allison Williams over here, but I'm trying.
Tell you one thing. No, you're not Allison to look at, I can tell you that. Oh, no, I should say. I want to wish Allison.
I don't think that's inaccurate.
She's going to have a diaper dandy, man, a diaper dandy. Look at Norville. He's feeling it tonight, stroking the three. But, you know, it's nice shooting when there's no pressure. But let's face reality. I wonder psychologically and emotionally how much that can play a factor when they get into a close game, because they have not been tested other than beginning of the year.
Well, we're going to find out. In the NCAA tournament,
Absolutely.
There is no way that they are not going to be in games like that. And right now they seem to be a team that's peaking, as you said, adding Killian Tilly. But Gonzaga's going to face pressure because they're going to take on teams that are a whole heck of a lot better in the NCAA tournament than they see in their league.
You know, it's really tough to be the combination that goes talent on the perimeter, talent on the interior, shooting ability from the perimeter, and a team that's well coached. That's a formula for success.
That's about the 10th time Colby Ross has thrown that alley-oop pass, and it hasn't worked yet. I think Gonzaga's scouting report prepared, as is Josh Perkins, who hits another three. And this is an annihilation of Gonzaga over Pepperdine.
Well, I think Mark Few's got to start thinking a little bit about going to the bench. You don't want any injuries in a game of this situation. So I think you'll see some of that bench play in here the last 8-9 minutes of this game.
And there's Tilly going down hard, and that is not what anyone in Spokane wants to see. As it's good to see he gets right back up again. And Mark Few immediately turns and looks down his bench to maybe get a Killian Tilly substitute dialed up. But he's going to leave him on the floor.
He wants to give him some game action. I mean, the kid has been really out. Played, what, 9 games of limited action this year?
He started off the year with an ankle injury that cost him 15 games right at the start of the season, then came back for 9 and then was out a month with a torn foot ligament. And there he is on the offensive glass, but just lost control.
Yeah, that stress fracture in his foot, I think Coach told us as well.
And just bad luck. 2 injuries that were completely unrelated to one another.
Zach fans got a lot to cheer about, man. That kennel is a special place. I've been there one time, and it was really so unique and special. One of the great environments in college basketball.
I was lucky enough to be there a couple times to see them play St. Mary's when both teams were ranked. Clark lays it in. Off the bounce pass from Gino Crampton.
I mean, you know, that's as pretty as it can be in transition. I mean, Jay well said, they're going to love that watching the studio. That execution, efficient, executing. America, you are watching right now one of America's premier teams who have a great opportunity and a great chance when the tournament starts to win it all. They can win it all. My BBDI is lighting up. My Vital Bulldogs index is saying, tell America it's going to be the Zags.
I can vouch for that. I see this. We are back with Crunch Time, brought to you by Cheez-It. And so far in the second half, Gonzaga is shooting 69% from the field. They stop them at one end, they finish at the other. Dick Vitale, their efficiency is amazing, and a lot of it feeds off of Brandon Clark, because he is not only able to be a rim protector, he's also able to be a playmaker, so efficient at the offensive end, and a great passer as well.
Look at those numbers there, 68.8%, 3.2 blocks, so athletic, and he feeds right off. He and Hachimura really create a nightmare for teams they play on that baseline.
Not only the newcomer of the year in the West Coast Conference, but also the defensive player of the year, the first time that a single player has won both of those two awards. Also finds himself as a Wooden finalist, a finalist for the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year. So it's hard to believe this guy was once at San Jose State.
Well, awards will be given out, and that's where Cassius Winston got MVP of the Big Ten. And I say amen to that. He's my choice. He's been brilliant all year. What he did with Tom Izzo's club when they lost Langford, and they also lost Ward. They'll get Ward back for their tournament. But being those are major losses, and to really be up there in the Big Ten and win it is amazing to me. Amazing. Tom Izzo showed why he's such a Hall of Fame coach. Really reaches young people, gets the most out of them.
Cooper, tough fadeaway.
The one thing about Gonzaga, they'll keep coming at you, but they don't play the scoreboard. To them, it's not about, well, we're up Central, relax. They're just going to keep coming and coming, rebounding, attacking. That's where you want kids to play. You want them to play hard all the time.
Gonzaga does that.
Look at the way they execute offensively. Always cutting, looking for the open guy.
Clark shovels over to Hachimura.
Just like perfection. He made me look good. I talked about him sharing the ball, and he made me look good, and that's tough to do, Robert.
I was going to say I'm jealous. I usually fail when I'm attempting to make you look good.
Oh, wow.
Colby Ross, that pass deflected and stolen by Gino Crandall. The no-look to the cutter, and Perkins who lays it in.
I think he's got to go to the bench now. You don't want to take a chance of an injury, and you just don't want to humiliate people. I know it's pretty tough to turn it off.
Yeah,
but
too late. It's 79-38. Unfortunately for Lorenzo Romar's team, we passed that a while ago.
But you know what? The one thing he wants to do is certainly keep the rhythm of his team going. Nice execution. Pepperdine. I think that kid's got a good future, man, Victor. I really do. I think he's going to be a heck of a player at Pepperdine.
Want to take a shot at his last name?
I'm letting you handle that, baby.
Victor Obioha. I spent some time with the pronunciation guy before tonight's game.
Obioha.
Ohia Obioha.
Obioha. Are you kidding me? That's out of my league.
You are giving us some ha-has.
Out of my league.
And it is ha-has tonight for Gonzaga as Hachimura always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And now Clark at the line.
Obioha. That's
Not
pretty good.
Quite.
Yeah, pretty good right there. Obioha.
Ohia Obioha.
Oh, you got to use the Ohia there.
You got to throw that in there too, yes.
Oh, you got to use. I didn't think you got to use that. The middle name, just like Victor.
I think he would prefer all of the syllables of his name be included. Yes.
Oh, oh man, I tried. I'm sorry. I really am. Give me Jones, Smith.
It breaks their way with the white talent. This was a fight they would have stopped it. But it was a good try. Step back for Cooper, and he hits another.
Well, that's what he can do really well. He can stroke that three. Makes multiple threes per game. Cooper, they got some nice young players, though. Keeps them to come back and get stronger physically. Be well coached. Lorenzo Romar's got a really strong resume. He did a terrific job for years there at Washington. Also was at St. Louis. Was an assistant at Arizona last year as well.
Hard to believe he's been at Pepperdine now for 5 years. And now a hand for Clark and for Perkins. Although Perkins stays on the floor. It looked like he was checking out as well. But Brandon Clark gets a nice little curtain call in front of all these Gonzaga fans that have made their way down to Las Vegas.
You know, Lorenzo, this is his second trip. He replaced Marty Wilson, the coach there, twice. Second trip coaching at Pepperdine. Loves it. Who can't love going to Malibu? It's gorgeous.
That flip is good for Darryl Polk.
Darryl Polk, talk about a guy that gets the most out of his talent, size, and ability. Nice little layup right there.
Seal inside for Philip Petrushev. Petrushev will go to the free throw line.
Petrushev really impressed Tom Izzo when I spoke to him on the phone. He said to me, that kid's going to be a good player for them eventually. Comes off the bench.
An all-freshman selection in the West Coast Conference. Philip Petrushev from Serbia at the line, knocks down the front end. At SportsCenter tonight after Pepperdine Gonzaga. Kenny Mayne and John Anderson will take you inside the journey of Rui Hachimura from Japan to Spokane, plus why the window is closing on Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown in Oakland. See where Le'Veon Bell ends up. And the latest on Conor McGregor's arrest in Miami. SportsCenter coming up after the game on ESPN and the ESPN app.
That kid Petrushev's going to be a heck of a player. You mark my word, as a freshman, he's going to be a special player for Gonzaga. You're going to see his development.
Well, players do come to Gonzaga and develop. Hachimura is a perfect example. I was asking Mark Few earlier today if he saw this development coming. in Hachimura. He went from averaging 2.5 points per game as a freshman to now averaging close to 21 a game as a junior. And he said, well, if you go back to his freshman year, he was on a team filled with pros. It was a team that went to the final, and he was on a really good team and was not a featured player, but that is part of the culture at Gonzaga. Guys are willing to wait their turn.
Well, we also definitely talk about development. What about Sabonis? Sabonis, when he was there, he slowly kept getting better and better and better. You watch him in the NBA now, his development's unbelievable, Sean. You watch the development of a kid like Sabonis. I see it with Petrushev. I think he's going to be one heck of a player.
Well, I agree, and that's a big part of Gonzaga's success is the development. Kelly Olynyk is another guy you could throw in there who redshirted. As much as we talk about the guards of Gonzaga, it's really been about the bigs in the last 10 years. Even guys like Rob Sacre and how important he was to the program and its development. Jonathan Williams, of course, his great run in 2017 with Shemet Karnowski, who was another big presence that developed over his time at Spokane. Tommy Lloyd, Donnie Daniels, this assistant coaching staff has been outstanding in helping this program maintain its place.
Yeah, they really do. He delegates well to them. Hey, don't forget the name of big, Zach Collins. He was vital to that team in 2017.
Art Fuse team rolling once again towards the WCC championship game tomorrow.
Let's welcome the Pepperdine cheer team.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. 84-46, Gonzaga looking very much like not only the best team in the West Coast Conference, but maybe the best team in America as far as the New York Life ACC tournament is concerned. It begins on Tuesday with the first three games. Dick Vitale, you talked about that NC State-Clemson game being a very important bubble matchup for those two teams to begin play noon on Wednesday, and then the teams that start to win will filter through towards North Carolina and Duke and Florida State and Virginia awaiting on Thursday.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, you better keep an eye on Florida State. They really are a dangerous team. Really, especially when they get in the NCAA tournament, you know, in the conference, ACC, they know a lot about their players, their personnel. They're a very deep team. They're a very athletic team. Leonard Hamilton has those kids. They're unselfish, and they got people that can play. They're athletes. Cabagelli's outstanding off the bench. Terrence Mann, Forrest. They got a number of guys. Colford, they can beat you in so many ways. And it's tough to prepare for them because you don't know who to really concentrate and focus on. I think when it comes to NCAA tournament time, they showed last year, went to the Elite Eight. Keep an eye on the nose.
Kispert clears some space. Hachimura tried to keep it alive. And eventually it is taken down by Eric Cooper for Pepperdine. He'll try a three.
Cooper can stroke it.
Rebound falls right to Kessler Edwards. And now Gino Crandall takes it the other way.
Kessler would like to have his brother Cameron out there. Physical force, tough, aggressive player.
Yeah, against Gonzaga to lose a player that's 6'6", 230. That's a tough injury to absorb if you're Pepperdine. As Jones tries a three and knocks it down.
Well, Jones getting a little playing time now, taking advantage of it. The bench stands up and cheers. There's such a togetherness. They're all about TEAM. Togetherness, enthusiasm, attitude, and mental toughness. That's motivational.
I'm inspired.
You gotta have pride, man. You got pride, you're gonna go places.
Here comes Rui Hachimura.
They got a lot of pride, these kids from Gonzaga.
Jones down the lane, draws the foul.
I can hear Mark Few talking to his team as they get ready for the NCAA. Here it is, guys. Here it is. Think about it. Everybody say we don't play anybody. Everybody says, yes, our record is really inflated. Well, we're going to show people now, we play all the big guys and the big teams, that we can play. And you know what? If he delivers that message, he's right. They can play.
Talk about little guys that could play.
Wow, he's pretty good, this guy. I mean, can he handle the ball?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, you talk about running the screen and roll play up on top. He had a guy by the name of
Carl
Malone.
Yeah, I remember
Mr. Stockton, I'll tell you one thing.
He delivered at times.
Well, he passed the rock. And he was all about making plays. Little zone defense going up right now. That's not normally their D. They're going to zone a little bit here. Take away some of the pressure.
Done around Petrushev and lays it in.
And a nice baseline drive right there. Nice hook. Petrushev getting some playing time here.
Rui Hachimura, one of only 5 Japanese-born players to become scholarship players in Division I. Hands one off to Gino Crandall, and Crandall is fouled.
That one thing, they got a lot of Japanese players playing Major League Baseball.
10 team fouls on the Waves. And Kessler Edwards banged up on that foul. So he's going to head to the bench.
You know, you think about what they did. They've won 3 games in a row.
He's cut. Ouch.
I mean, Pepperdine won 3 games in a row. They beat San Francisco to get here. They had to come from behind to win games over Pacific and Loyola Marymount.
Substitution number 50, Jackson Stormo.
Oh, there's the contact right there.
And when a player's cut, they want to go to the monitor just to make sure that it was nothing but incidental, and that's exactly what it was. The head of Crandall came together with the nose of Kessler Edwards.
Lorenzo played in the NBA for 7 years. Former Washington standout. And I look at that list of players he coached on a professional level that are in the pros now. C.J. Wilcox, Marquise Chris, Murray, Fultz, Pondexter, Denton, Brockman, Hawes, Brandon Roy, Will Conroy, Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson is something special, man. The way he can elevate.
There's a little guy with a future as well. Colby Ross knocks another one down. He was first team All-West Coast Conference.
Well, he should be. He's going to break the school record in assists and scoring before he's done playing there with Pepperdine. And the kid plays hard all the time. Look at him right here. He doesn't give what the scoreboard says. I'm going to give my best.
Done from the corner. Petrushev, just a little too strong.
Nice little high-low entry, getting the ball down inside. You know, I think of the 2017 team, comparing it with this team, as Sean had asked. You think about the Karnowski inside. Don't forget, they had a great guard, man. When you think about Nigel Williams-Goss, he was special. He could really play. Remember him? He was a terrific guard.
And Sean, we were talking about that before. How do you think that this current Gonzaga team stacks up with that one as a team that went as deep as a Gonzaga team has got?
Well, I tell you what, they have better versatility, in particular at the defensive end of the floor, because Shemet Karnowski, you could bring him away from the basket and put him in those on-ball screens, and he wasn't as laterally quick and as athletic as the interior presence is for this Gonzaga team. And I think that makes them more dangerous at the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, I don't think there's a misstep. I think that Nigel Williams-Goss was such an important part to that team, and that his leadership was one of the things that stood out. And maybe that's something that you look at is, can Josh Perkins provide that kind of leadership on that stage moving forward?
You know, he was certainly special, Williams-Goss. And I like the development that a young guy they had. He's not college, he was so young, but he made some really, really important contributions to that team.
Oh, way outside. That three goes down for Eric Cooper.
Cooper's got a nice stroke, he really does. He can stroke that three.
Just short. Corey Kispert coming up on 3 minutes to go. And then Gonzaga will await the winner of our next semifinal. It'll be coming up a little bit later on ESPN2 between St. Mary's and San Diego. Another three for Cooper.
Cooper could transfer out of Nevada.
Yep.
But they got a heck of a program and an outstanding team under Eric Musselman. Played 2 years there. He's one of the best three-point shooters. And swinging at 83s coming into this game. He can be a little streaky. His dad was his high school coach.
There's Kispert, just a little too strong, but it's run down by Petrusek.
His big mismatch. Petrusek.
Jones can't hit the three. 2.5 minutes to go. So for the 22nd consecutive year, it looks like Gonzaga is going to win in the semifinals of the West Coast Conference Tournament, as Darnell Dunn is able to lay it in, and we'll see if they end up with their arch rivals in St. Mary's tomorrow night, as game 2 of our semifinal doubleheader is coming up between San Diego and the Gales.
Welcome to March. The fun starts here. The biggest night of Champ Week presented by Principal begins Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
Cycrest works. Visit Cycrest.com.
Let's welcome back the Gonzaga cheer team.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance.
Welcome back to the WCC Tournament semifinals. Gonzaga over Pepperdine by 30 with 2:22 to go. And our Guinness made of more tonight is Killian Tilly, making his return and making the most of that return, as he just doesn't miss when he's in this building. 3 for 3 from 3, as last season he went through a stretch where he knocked down 15 of 16 behind the arc here in the Orleans Arena. in the West Coast Conference Tournament.
Well, he made 13 in a row last year from 3. A game competition, that's unbelievable. He's smiling, he's going to feel good. He's got that tongue out like Michael Jordan did, huh? I'd be smiling too if I could stroke. He wants to do a little dance. He's got a little bounce to him. He should have went to the Gwen Stefani show like I did. And then yesterday we shared time, my wife and I, after the show, with guys who were electric. They were terrific. Boys to Men. They were fantastic.
Now, when I close my eyes, I think of Gwen Stefani and Boys to Men. I think of Dick Vitale in the third row.
No. I was the oldest guy in that show.
No.
Oh, man, all those young ladies and young guys dancing in the aisles to Stefani. I'll tell you one thing, her staging and her production was off the charts. I'm going to be on radio tomorrow in Las Vegas, 9:30 in the morning. Turn your radio on. Ed Graney, a writer in town, a columnist. I'm going to be on guest on the show. You'll be sleeping at 9:30.
Me? A little bit up for 3 hours. Colby Ross, it's a 3.
Nice little 3 by Mr. Ross. He's a kid, you're going to know that name in that conference, the West Coast Conference. My guy got in 3:30 in the morning the other day. 3:30 because he went to see his daughter perform brilliantly in a play called Hello, Dolly. I heard she was terrific.
She was terrific. It was well worth the middle of the night arrival as Colby Ross throws up another running one-hander. You know, he's been in the top 8 in scoring in the West Coast Conference both of his first 2 years at Pepperdine. He's on his way to maybe being a 2,500-point scorer.
I'll tell you one thing, he really attacks well, plays hard.
Already an 1,100-point scorer. He's only a sophomore.
Yeah, he's going to break the all-time record if he doesn't get hurt and score.
Jones thought about a 3. He'll drive it with the finger roll, George Gervin style, with a minute to go.
A little ice man. And let me tell you something. They scrimmage against these kind of guys. That's where they get their competition every day. I want to tell you, my wife said that Mr. Wishuzu, what a great father, that he would fly all the way home from the game we did with Auburn in Tennessee, rather than come with us and arrive Saturday here in Vegas, because he wanted to see his daughter. She says you're the father of the year.
I appreciate that.
And also, Allison Williams, let me tell you this.
She'll be the mother of the year.
I sent her a note. I said, Allison, she's going to have a little baby. That diaper daddy's very lucky they're going to have a mother like Allison. She's super, super people.
Well, a super, super team is Gonzaga. The question is, will St. Mary's, their arch rival, get a shot at them tomorrow night in the championship game, or will the upstart be more of a factor in the second game than they were in the first? Can San Diego pull off a mild upset?
I'll tell you one thing, that's no automatic that next game.
Yep.
San Diego's been playing exceptionally well. I heard their defense was superb. Sean did the game, said they played great defensively. They're a well-coached team. One of their assistants is Terrence Rencher, sent me a note. I remember Terrence, when he played for Texas, was an attacker, played at St. Raymond's in high school over in New York City for Gary DeCisa, and Rencher's on that coaching staff. I mean, at least if you coach San Diego or you coach Pepperdine, what places to live? I mean, are you kidding me? Sunshine.
Joel Ayayi at the free throw line. And now some curtain calls for even the secondary players for Gonzaga as Gino Crandall heads to the bench along with Jeremy Jones. So now even the walk-ons get an opportunity right at the end of this semifinal win for Gonzaga.
Gonzaga were very impressive tonight. I know you could say the competition was not keen. These kids won 3 games, the Pepperdine kids. They're hugging one another, and they should hug one another. Great achievement for them. To come here and battle, play their hearts out. But Gonzaga just too good.
Well, Gonzaga hits 100 as we are down to the last 10 seconds. And they will advance to the championship game tomorrow night. They've won 7 consecutive regular season titles. They've won the last 6 West Coast Conference Tournament championships. He is the king of the West Coast Conference, Mark Few, and his team has a chance to win yet another title tomorrow night.
Gonzaga improves to 30-2. More importantly, the Zags will put their ticket to the final.
So a 30-win season continues for the Zags, as they are now 30-2 on the year, and they have won all 17. of their WCC games. Wofford and Gonzaga, the only teams to put together a perfect conference record this season, and they have a chance to keep perfection rolling tomorrow night against the winner of San Diego and St. Mary's. That game will come up on ESPN2 at the bottom of the next hour. Hopefully you'll join myself and Sean Farnham for that call. So for Sean, Dick Vitale, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long for now from Las Vegas. Time for Kenny Mayne and John Anderson in SportsCenter.
Today, but earlier was a little bit of a nail biter.
Yeah, I mean, is it bored? At what point in time do you want to stop cheering?
Never. We want to go as far as we can.
Okay, but when you're up by 40, do you feel bad for the opponent?
I mean, not really. We just love to watch them play.
All right, they're just brutal. They just want to kill everybody. Waiting on him. He's coming right now. All right, we're ready to go. Okay, yeah, switch on this side, actually. Thank you. All right, you guys ready? All right, so you haven't played in seemingly the entire season, if you really look at it. You come back, you hit your first three-pointers. Take me through how good it felt being back out on the floor.
Man, it feels great. It feels great. You know, my teammates really helped me, you know, giving the extra pass to me, and I was just focused to make the shots, and it went in. It was great.
You can say you were focused, but after the third three-pointer, you started pointing at the floor saying, this is your house. What is it about this gym? Because we all remember what you did. I think it was 18 straight three-pointers a season ago.
Yeah, I mean, this gym is, I don't know, first of all, the fans are crazy. There's only like Gonzaga fans. It's great. And I don't know, there's something special. Yeah.
The rhythm of the team was really good, and you coming back into it, I know that was something we talked about at shoot-around today, how you would acclimate yourself back into what this team has been able to accomplish so far. 6 double-digit scores tonight for your team. What does that say about the depth and the way you were able to work yourself back in?
Yeah, I mean, the team is really, you know, deep. Everybody can score. That's what makes this team very dangerous. And I think everybody did a great job tonight. You know, everybody can score. And yeah, the rhythm offensively is great. You know, everybody shared the ball, and that's what makes this team so great.
You know what also makes this team dangerous? Killian Tilly being back out on the court. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we good there, J-Dub?